Today, we're going to be impersonating America and taking all the oil in the world for ourselves for one goal, making as much fuel as possible. But first, we need to finish dealing with this because I need a big place to put all the machines. I wonder if you can blow up these slugs. The answer was no. I think it's just fine. I feel like you could put like a nice big Walmart right here and a few 1,000-lane highway. Anyways, when you're trying to take over the world, the first thing you do is start off with a railroad, because duh. We are going this way, so let me explain kind of what I'm doing. I need to get all the oil and all of the sulfur in the world to one spot. I have some sulfur up here I can belt over, and some sulfur right here I can belt over. But then I have sulfur here and like a pocket over here that I need to grab, and, you know, other places around the map, and then oil spread all over. So I'm going to be using these blueprints and rails to bring my oil and sulfur over. Sulfur on the train station, oil on the pipes, because I sure as fuck am not transferring oil through the train. It'll just fail epically. Now, once the train stations are in to pick up all the sulfur, I am now setting this train off to go. It has 3 stops. One here, and then back around. So 3 different sulfur stops. I'm gonna have 2 trains going at once just to make things easier for myself. Let me grab another one of these. After the train has reached the middle point, I'll send this one off, and then I'm going to go get all the oil that's along this line, which is, there's a pump here and some in the Crater Lake, and I'll hook it up to these pipes and bring it back over. Then we'll be heading off in another direction. I hope you can notice we're using mods, because I have, like, a few days to do this, and I sure as fuck ain't doing this in, like, vanilla. I don't want to grab all this garbage. Number one, we're going to have a train going, like, straight that way. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to go straight, and it's going to split this way, and then split this way. And it's going to be 2 different train stations. And then we're also going to grab oil that's at the very end of the map. And we're also going to grab the oil that's right there. Like I said, train from there, over, and then we split off one direction, and we have another in another direction. The reason I'm splitting it is because I don't want to do this. My train would go like this. Wow, wow. It'd make like this big ass fucking sphere. Not sphere. What is 2 U's together, but that isn't an infinity symbol? I don't know what it's called, but very long thing. It'd go like this, and then it'd go back, and I just don't want to do that. So we split, and I make some janky Y section right here. Some of the mods I'll be using is very large blueprints. The reason is I don't want to do everything annoyingly, so very large blueprints. The other mod I'll be using is pack utilities and daylight something rather. It's always 2 p.m. or some shit, so I can fly around and do goofy garbage. As you can see, everything is now in. We've grabbed all the oil from here, and grabbed all the sulfur, turned the trains on, blah, blah, blah. This isn't important enough to show. It's just me grabbing resources, like, whatever. But as you can see, we got many lines of oil, not including these ones right here. And we have all of the sulfur on the map. My game did not like me turning around quickly. Oh, well. Now what we're going to do is start placing down a bunch of refineries. Now you may be asking yourself, well, how much oil do you actually need to make all the turbofuel in the world? Well, I'm making 13,000 turbofuel, and you need exactly that much heavy oil residue, which is made by oil. So the heavy oil residue refineries are now in. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of them, because this goes on for a hot stretch. Now, you might be asking, one, why am I doing that? Because it's fun. Don't you see this? My brain feels so happy. Oh, well, my game doesn't. It doesn't like when I do that. But the other reason is, the reason I'm doing it in a long line is because it's split into 4 quadrants. Half of all of this heavy oil residue is going directly into blenders to make turbo fuel, as you can see here. So half of it, 30 of it, goes into here. The other half is split between petroleum coke and fuel. So we're going to have a few machines for petroleum coke, another few machines for fuel, and then the rest of it will be going into the blenders directly. But before any of that, we kind of have to, like, you know, hook up the oil and make it work. I'd also like to mention, we're doing no power. This whole thing is a power plant. I'm not making a power plant to power my power plant for no fucking reason. Me bringing all the pipes over here was kind of useless because they just kind of went all the way back, but for the few that did go this way, it was kind of helpful. Now, you may be asking yourself, why am I not, like, overclocking any of these machines? And the answer is, I want to see if I can. But the simple fact is, I probably won't be able to. For all the heavy refineries, it's about 342 refineries, and then for the petroleum coke, as you can see right here, it's 60 refineries. For the fuel, I'll be having 80 refineries, but then we get to the fuel generators. If I don't overclock the fuel generators, I'm going to need around 3,000 of them, and I don't think that'll fit in this space. I'm probably going to have to drop the number down to 1,216. Sad, but it is what it is. As just mentioned, these are the petroleum coke refineries. 120 makes 4 lines of 600 each, and so I got 12 lines of 600, blah, blah, blah. Petroleum coke's gone. Now we get to do the fuel. Since we're trying to make the most amount of turbo fuel possible, we are going to have to use a few alternate recipes, like this packaged fuel recipe. So, to start off the fuel, we need water. Well, those are awesome things. This is water. Well, no, this isn't water either. These are packagers. That's water. There we go. I finally got there. We need water, empty canisters, make packaged water, shove into refineries to make packaged fuel. Then we get to unpack that packaged fuel, take those canisters, put them back through the system. It's going to be so much fun when I do this, because I'm going to spend 6 hours trying to figure out exactly what the right amount of canisters in, and I'll never know, and I refuse to look up a good way to do the math. But all of these are in now. I cannot wait to look at the awesome maze of belts and pipes I have going later on. Anyways, the fuel refineries are in. Now we have to do the fuel and packagers. Guess who's a moron? It was me. See anything different in this picture? That's right, there's another set of water packagers. That's because I did my math wrong, so I had to add another fuel thing, and then now we have the fuel and packagers done, and the canisters aren't being recycled yet. I've just been using these little containers so far to get the water going, because I'm making an overflow. I do realize now I'm going to have to delete all the canisters in this entire system and then re-put them in later to get the right numbers. But at least we have an overflow. I should kind of go over the numbers, maybe just a little bit. Our end goal is 4,560 fuel, and our end goal for the petroleum coke was 6,840. The reason we're doing 6,840 petroleum coke is because that's how much sulfur we have on the map. I should mention, we aren't using all the oil. We still have an extra 800 to 1,000 oil just sitting in these fields over here that we can't use because we are limited by the sulfur on the map. The amount of sulfur we can make is exactly 6,840, but we can make significantly more heavy oil residue than that, and we can make more petroleum coke and fuel. But like I said, we are limited by our sulfur. So technically, if I did want to make the most out of all of the oil, I'd have to add some fuel refineries that would turn the oil into fuel and then just put them into fuel generators. But we're doing specifically turbo fuel. We're making the most amount of turbo fuel possible. Not all fuel, okay? Oh boy, do I love when things don't work out nicely. Aha, it's so much fun. Okay, this is my turbo fuel blueprint. As you can see, we have a few issues. The nice one is that each set of these, each blueprint of these, needs 300 petroleum coke and sulfur, same amount, per blueprint, which means one belt, since I'm doing 600 petroleum coke, and I'll split it up to be 600 sulfur, can feed into 2 blueprints. But then it comes to the fuel and heavy oil residue. We have a little bit of a different number. These two are switched, actually. For the heavy oil residue, we need 400 per blueprint on the bottom, and then 200 fuel on the top, which means one fuel pipe can do 3 blueprints, and 2 heavy oil residue pipes can do 3 blueprints. So we're gonna have a little bit of shenanigans as we set up these blueprints. But anyways, this is the finished one. I have the pipe set up at the back. They all go to one output. Now I'm going to lay them in a long line, probably here. It's probably gonna go 1 and then 2 and then 3, maybe 4. I don't know exactly how many I can fit right here, but we're gonna try and fit a lot. Anybody know if Mario has a dad? Anyways, all the blenders are in, and then I also hooked up the canisters, and when I hooked up well, I haven't hooked them up. They're almost ready to hook up. I now realize I have to hook them up and then drain them all because reasons. It's going to be annoying. I've said it 4 times, but I'm really not. I don't want to deal with these canisters. It's going to take 5 hours. It's going to suck. The first thing I'm going to hook up is probably my pipes, and then I'll deal with my belts, but I don't know yet. But we do need to get all of the sulfur up and over to here, and all of the petroleum coke over to here, so we can kind of have a nice space for it. So I'll just kind of decide what I'm in the mood for in a second. Pipes or belts, we'll find out. This isn't trippy at all. like, whatsoever. My brain really comprehends this nicely. Anyways, the water in the world told me to do fuel first, so I did fuel first. Then we're gonna do heavy oil residue. As you can see, it's all hooked up very nicely. It's very pretty, very beautiful. And I'm starting to make a motherboard. Like, you look at this from, like, any angle from far away, and then you look at a motherboard. Imagine these foundations were green, and these weren't bright blue and orange and purple. Look like a motherboard. I've looked at a motherboard like twice in my entire life. Oh my god, the pink made it so much better. It looks so good now. Goofy little lines going everywhere. This one random one is going to be hooked up over there. Just leave it alone. It'll be dealt with in a second. But look at it. Wow. Look at all these pipes. Oh, look at them snake. Look at them snake over each other. I need to add the belts in now. I cannot wait to see this. I still need to add the petroleum coke, but look, the sulfur's in. And what's even better is the big-ass bridge I had to build to make it. Haha! It just stretches over these things. It just stands there and doesn't give a fuck about you. Oh my god, it's amazing. I need the petroleum coke now. I want to see what it looks like. I want to have like the rest of the sulfur is going to go down the middle here and over and in and in. And I just want to have a big line of petroleum coke too. I need to see this. I have grabbed all of my black cocaine and brought it over, and now we're just gonna and boom bada bing, it's in. Okay. But look, it's another bridge. Oh wait, I need to delete these I'll do that in a second, whatever. But it's another bridge. Oh my god, it's beautiful. And it's gonna go down on a line right here, and it's going to be the greatest looking thing of all time. I need to do this like now. Look at this! Petroleum coke! It's in, and look at this over here. Look at this beautiful mess. Oh my god, the lines of resources. They're flowing. It's beautiful. I actively wish I had the heavy oil residue all like in a line right here, because it would have looked awesome. But my motherboard is complete. My game hates when I move quickly at all. It just keeps lagging. We haven't even had the fuel generators in. Once they're all moving and the smoke particles, my computer's gonna have a field day. We need to put these fuel generators in. I hope you know, like, this seems like we're going quick. We're like 15 hours in. We're 17 hours in. We're balling, but I'm skipping all the boring, tedious belt work because I didn't blueprint any of the belts or the pipes. I just kind of did it all by hand because the way I have it set up, I can't really blueprint it. I didn't have a plan for how the blenders would go in, so I couldn't do the belts or pipes that way. This, I need to plan better. Let's be honest. I need to plan better. You know, speaking of turbo fuel, the turbo on my car decided to blow up, which was really pissing me off. But my frame rate's having a great time with all of this. So I tried making this without overclocking all of them, and the 3000 would not fit. This is 1200, and they're all overclocked, and they're all on, and the power is slowly building up. We're about 380,000 so far. I think I did do all the math. The max we can get to is like 400 and like 60,000, I think, which is a good amount. But the funny part is, right, we're making a bunch of resin from this, like a lot of resin. We're making about 6,840 resin to be exact. Funny, that's the same as the sulfur and petroleum coke. Anyways, this is a like liable option for in a world, because if all you need is plastic and rubber for your factories, you could do this and use the resin to make oil and plastic. Now, your issue would be any recipes that need heavy oil residue. You can't really do petroleum coke for fuel or smokeless powder. You do still have, like I said, about 1,000 oil, so you could do like a little bit, but not a lot. But this is slowly turning on. What I need to do now is redo all of the canisters over here, because as you can see, they're flowing, but not quite well enough. As you can see, these are clogged because not enough things are coming in because I don't have enough canisters. Now, the entire reason we're having an issue is because I did not loop this correctly. It does not go, this goes into here, which makes the fuel, which goes into here, which takes the fuel out and actually does it. What it does is these take their water and they go over here, and then these take their fuel and they go over here, and these take their canisters and go like way over here. So even though it's not that much of a difference, it's enough of a difference like belt-wise, length-wise, where the canisters aren't a perfect flow, and so it's not a continuous loop, it's a half loop where they go into other machines and back. I hope that made a little bit of sense of what I'm trying to say. If any of these get clogged, it fucks up a different line, not this line. So if canisters aren't coming out of here, it'll fuck up these fuel generators, not these ones. Or I guess these fuel generators, not these ones. So that's kind of my issue right now that I have to fix, which I am literally going to spend probably the next 4 or 5 hours trying to do and never accomplish, but that's okay. So basically my plan is, right, take all these canisters, which I've kind of mathed out. I filled up these and filled up those, but haven't filled up those. If you don't know what I mean by that, these take a number of canisters, these take a number of canisters, but these take a number of packaged water. So I'm not adding enough canisters that'll make that packaged water overflow and this one overflow and this one overflow, if you kind of get what I mean. Anyways, these are all going to go in and we're going to let them flow. And after all of these are in, I'll probably have to add more canisters. So we'll slowly add more and more until it's all working. It has been 4 hours and these canisters still aren't right. And we're making about 420,000. As you can see, 420,000. My game just fucking crashed, but that's okay. We're making 420,000. I'm missing 40,000 megawatts of turbo fuel from somewhere, and I don't know where. I'm gonna wait longer and see if I can get that number higher. We're getting about 430,000 megawatts right now, and the reason is just these back ones don't quite have the overflow of turbo fuel yet. It'll probably be hours before the turbo fuel fully overflows into these lines, and that's the reason. A lot of these back ones just do not have enough turbo fuel coming in. As you can see, every once in a while it's like a 1 or a 0.6, and they just turn off if they're below 1. So that's why we aren't reaching our goal, but that's okay. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed our wonderful chaos. We made a motherboard. It's a little pointy, but that's okay. The belts are fading in and out of existence. The graphics are actively dying. The smoke particles look like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and we're balling out. I hope you've enjoyed this very quick explanation of how to ruin your graphics in about 20 hours. And I'll see you all next time. Oh, look at that. My game's lagging. Bye-bye.